Hello, welcome back to my daily Transcontinental Race coverage. We're now on to day 6, so without further ado, let's head over to the race tracker. And I guess the big news is for the first time in this race, we've had a change of lead. Martin Moritz is now, well, I wouldn't say comfortably, but he's in head of the race. So he was, if you remember, for the last 5 days or so, him and Nicolas Chatelet have been pretty much tracking each other. Nicolas had been in the lead, but it looks like he's started to fade. I mean, I was kind of questioning if he would do so. He set out with such a stunning pace. I mean, it's pretty remarkable how fast he was going. But I think there is a price to pay with these things. And when you see someone like Christoph Strasser, who is now in 3rd place, very close behind Victor Bozzoni, when you see someone so far ahead, given Christoph's history with winning the TCR twice and his history in the Race Across America, you do have to start questioning whether someone with a performance like Nico Surly is going too hard too soon. To be honest, I also thought the same about Martin, but to be honest, the more I see Martin riding, the more I feel like he's actually doing a really solid race and is pretty much in control, or as much in control as he can be on a race such as the Transcontinental. So you can see these riders here. They're the first 4, and David Chan. They have passed that first section of the parcours. So it's a double parcours, as we talked about. The first section starting in Siena with a lot of Strada Bianchi. And then they have to link up with Pocentro for the checkpoint, and then another mandated parcours further south in Italy. There's going to be some pretty tough riding there through the centre of Italy and over the Apennines. It's pretty hilly. It's a lot hillier than you'd think. They're pretty big mountains. There are some 2,000 metre mountains in there, but they don't get the same kind of acknowledgement as, say, the Pyrenees or the Alps. But yeah, definitely tough riding through there. So I'll dig into everything a little bit more. There's a lot of drama coming up. I've just been glued to this race the last day or so. There's so much happening at the moment, and we've got these ferries coming up. So we'll look at that in a second. Before I go any further, though, you probably know by now, I've mentioned it every day, POC are supporting my coverage. They're also sponsoring the Transcontinental Race. They do some great products. I've been using POC helmets for 3 or 4 years now. And I just wanted to bring to your attention tonight, they actually sponsor the Team Armani team. So Team Armani is a team, it's based in Kenya, but it's kind of comprised of riders from Eastern Africa. And essentially it's an opportunity for these riders that are probably world class, that don't necessarily have the opportunity to go pro. It's kind of an African pro team. And they race a lot in Africa, but then they also go out to some of the big gravel events in Europe and in the US, like the Lifetime Series. So essentially they do this collaboration, the POC Armani collaboration. So every time you buy anything that's an Armani product, a cut of the sale goes towards the team. For a really good cause. Personally, I think they look really cool. And one feature that is always prevalent on the Armani helmets, they always have the really bright fluorescent orange back. So I've got a couple of older editions of the Armani helmets, and I use them now for training on the road, mainly because of that bright fluoro rear end, which is, you can't miss it if you're in a car, essentially. A big thank you to POC, and great work supporting Team Armani. And they've got a 20% discount. So if you click on the link on the screen or look in the description below, you'll be able to sign up and get a 20% discount code. Big thank you to POC. Now let's get back to the race. So I've had a little look at the front of the field, like the men's race. Let's have a little bit of a look further down. So the top 10 is looking, fairly solid at the moment. So we saw David. We've got Jocelyn Roth. We've got clicked on him again. We've got Rinaz Manuel, and then just down here, if we zoom in a little bit, we've got Peter Kronenberger. And we've got Justinas Leveika. Now, we saw in yesterday's update, Justinas took that pretty wild route north. He lost a lot of time. And I suspect that was probably a bit of a mental blow to him. But he seems to be kind of recovering and riding a fairly steady pace. He's quite far off the leaders at the moment, but as we come on to in a moment, the ferry game is going to come into play soon. So I suspect there's going to be a lot of drama still coming up in this race. A bit further back, Jana Kessenheimer, she's still solidly in the lead of the women's race. However, when I checked first thing this morning and last night, Cynthia Carson actually caught her. So we'll have a little update from Cynthia in a minute. But essentially, they came together. They stayed in the same town last night. In actual fact, if I just zoom in a little bit on Follow My Challenge, select Jana, put her track up and find Cynthia, put her track up. And we should see somewhere through here the little tent symbol, which shows where they slept. And they look like they were both pretty much in the same place. So as Jana, I can't quite see where Cynthia is. But basically, they all came together last night before taking on the CP3, the Parkour 3 over the Strada de Azietta. There's been a bit of drama for Cynthia. We'll come on to that in a second. It's looking like those two at the moment are kind of drawing away from the field. Lael's in a bit of no man's land really. Lael Wilcox just approaching Asti in Italy. We've got another update from her in a second as well. And then further back, still on the Strada de Azietta, we've got Jamie Wilson and Sarah Boslet. So they're 4th and 5th in the women's race, and doing a pretty good job. And Ethel Lloyd, we heard from her a few days back. Sounds like she's still nursing a knee injury, but she's cracking on and she's in Brainson, so she'll be starting the climbs now. We'll see how those go with a knee injury. Sometimes it aggravates it, sometimes it actually makes it easier. It's bizarre. Sometimes flats are harder on knees, sometimes climbs are. So we'll just see if she drops off or catches up again. But let's have a look at the head of the race, and it's just absolutely fascinating. In actual fact, before I sort of dig into it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a little audio update that Lael sent me. So this came in this morning. It's not really so much about the it's a bit about her race, but it's kind of out of date on a race now. But it's just really worth listening to on her take on the race. And Lael's done loads of races. She's raced all around the world. She set the world record. But yeah, her take on the race is interesting. So let's hear what she says.
Hey, quick update. It's Lael heading into the Alps, and it is so pretty. It's so cool, and I'm so happy to be back in the mountains. I've just been thinking about this race, and it's so dynamic. And any kind of race, you make thousands of decisions, and you feel like you got to trust yourself that you're making the right choice, where to sleep, what to eat, when to push, when to rest. And I've been riding this race very emotionally, trying to take care of myself, have fun, and it's been so good. And, I'm excited for the Strada de Azietta. Hope you're doing good. Bye.
Thanks to Lael for sending that over. And as she said, there's just so many components to the Transcontinental Race. It's about the planning your route. We've seen Justinas fall foul of that. It's about missing these banned roads. There's the road resource map here, which bans you from going on certain roads. So the planning section is really key. And then of course we've got these two ferries from Bari to the most obvious one is Bari to Durrës, and I suspect most of the riders will be taking that. I'll be quite surprised if they're not, because the other ones go so far north. But yeah, let's keep an eye on it. And as you remember, I looked at them yesterday. So essentially, as I record, it's just after 8 p.m. UK time, so 9 p.m. In European time in Italy. And the ferry from Bari is essentially midnight, a couple of minutes before midnight on Sunday. That's the first one that's probably even remotely possible to catch. Now, if anyone gets that ferry, it would be one or two people. Martin looks like he's trying to catch it. If anyone gets that ferry, then the race is, I reckon it'll be one person if they get it, and the race is won to a certain extent. However, I've been, well, actually, no, let's go back. Let's go to Instagram first. So I'm jumping around a bit here, but I'm trying to explain what's going on. So this is David Chan. He's in, I think he's 4th or 5th at the moment. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Of the Transcontinental Race. Again, a little update. I guess the main thing to talk about is probably the ferry. So I did some mathing rather than just guessing stuff, and it's unfortunate, but it looks like the math shows that maybe we should start a little earlier. So it looks like the front group is gunning for the ferry at midnight on Sunday. I don't think anyone's gonna make the ferry at 1 p.m. on Sunday. That just seems very unlikely. But some might make the ferry at midnight. I'm not gonna make it on the ferry at midnight. Yeah, I ran the numbers and it's just unrealistic. Like, I would have to ride 24 kilometers an hour for the next 40 hours without stopping a single time, which is obviously unrealistic. Like, just resupplying costs you a little bit of time getting there. It adds up. Not even talking about sleep. Like, I'm at a point where I can't just sleep anymore. Actually kind of gets worse if you sleep. Been probably pushing it a little too much.
So after hearing from David there, we go straight for Martin and the story he put up earlier. And the quote here, "I'm going to catch that boat," and he means a Sunday night boat. And I mean, my big question would be, is it possible? It's going to be tight. So I did a bit of very amateur route planning just on Google Maps here. So from where Martin is roughly now, via Centro, which is the CP town. Obviously, I've not plotted in the exact route. Finishing in Bari, it's 608 odd kilometers, and Google reckons it would take you 36 hours to cycle. Now, I think probably Google that these riders will be going faster than that. But as I record now, it's 8:30 UK time, so 9:30 Euro time. So 24 hours plus 2.5 hours, so 26.5 hours. I don't know. I think it's going to be very tough. I mean, certainly Martin can't sleep tonight. If he wants to get that ferry, he cannot sleep. And I think it's going to be very, very difficult to catch that midnight Sunday ferry. There is one at 1 o'clock, I think it was, but that's just out of the question. So yeah, I think Martin now, if he wants to win this race not easily. I mean, he's got to put the effort in now. If he wants to get a gap, he's got to push like hell to try and get that ferry. And there's a chance that you might miss it and be absolutely destroyed and be out the race. Not out the race, but you severely compromised the last leg of the race. The other thing, I took this ferry last year on the way to the accursed race, the other race that Lost Dot Races runs, and the port is just a bit disjointed. So the ticket office is one side, and then the actual sort of boarding embarkment section is on the other side of the port, and it's almost half a K. And it's not super obvious or clear. So if you turn up in the dark, you're tired, you've just absolutely smashed yourself for 27 odd hours, 26.5 hours, and it'll have to be an hour less than that, probably 25 hours, because you need to give yourself an hour to get there. You can't find where you are. You're trying to work things out. It's stressful. I find it very hard to believe that they're going to get on that Sunday night ferry, which means it's probably going to be the Monday night ferry. Which means everyone in 24 hours behind where Martin is now is pretty much going to be on the ferry. So people like Justinas who've screwed up can get back in the race, and we know how strong he is. And someone like David, who's basically figured out there's no way he's going to get that Sunday ferry, he's now got the opportunity to pretty much ride a nice steady race. He can have a big sleep in a hotel, he can stop for an hour and lunch, and they're in Italy. So there's carbohydrates galore, pasta, gelato, there's coffee everywhere. So that it could be that these front guys are going to destroy themselves trying to get that ferry, and the guys kind of in the second half of the top 10 could be really sensible and just turn up at the ferry port with a bit more energy in the tank and not dig too deep, because there's only so many matches you can burn when racing the TCR. And even if we zoom in now, so we see number 7, so Pavel Pawlowski. So he looks like he's stopped. But that might be really sensible because he's stopped early. He's probably going to have a big night's sleep. He's also realised he's not going to get the Sunday ferry. So he's calculating to get the Monday ferry. So he's got the chance to have a massive sleep. Again, lots of food. And yeah, it's just absolutely... it's going to be fascinating to see, what happens. And I suspect we're going to have the top 10 or 15 just restarting again in Durrës. The same goes for the women's race. So Jana, I don't think Jana's not going to get the Sunday ferry. There's no chance. But she's going to be racing for that Monday night ferry. And again, if she gets it and Cynthia doesn't, she's going to be in a similar position to Martin. Like, she could then have a 24-hour lead, which she's then just got to hold all the way to Constanta in Romania for the finish. But equally, Cynthia could just catch her. And, if Jana misses that ferry, it's 24 hours until the next ferry. So pretty much the whole of the top 5, including Leo, Jamie's in there, Sarah's up there. They could all come together again and they're basically starting again. So it's quite a lot of tactics. And as Leo said, at the start of this update, it's so nuanced. It's not just about pedaling the TCR. You've got to think, you've got to use your mind, you've got to work stuff out on the fly. You've got to not take, the wrong route, as we saw Justina's took. You've got to navigate those band roads. So yeah, absolutely fascinating. And really, it's going to be really exciting to watch how this race develops. Pretty much, tomorrow is going to be pretty exciting to watch, I think. So yeah, with all that in mind, let's just get across to Christoph. He did an update this morning.
Good morning, buongiorno. There was no update yesterday because it was a tough evening and it was very hard and crowded because a lot of traffic. The roads were not so good, so I had really to take care and focus on having a safe bike ride. And after again 3 hours of sleep, I was pretty tired in the morning, and it was raining. I was wet, it was cold. I wanted to maybe take a power nap, but when you are like completely soaked, it doesn't make sense to lay down somewhere. And now hopefully the weather gets a little bit better. I'm riding towards Pisa in the Toscana, so in the afternoon I should do the next parkour on the Strade Bianche and then continue south to South Italy and then start to think about the ferry times. This will be like a poker game.
So yeah, as Christoph said, this will be like a poker game, and really, really fascinating. So yeah, just keep watching the track tomorrow. And yeah, it's I think the ferry's 23:58, so essentially a few minutes before midnight. So riders realistically they need to be there by 11 p.m. local time, I would have thought. So yeah, let's just finish this one up with the Transcontinental Race's official Instagram. So they've got a bit of obviously on the ground input. Obviously, I'm just sort of putting this all together from online. So Martin Moritz has been preparing for moments like this, a veteran of the self-supported Gran Guanche. So that's another race where there's lots of ferries between the Canary Islands. So Martin was first through the opening half of the parkour 4. Aware of the chase behind, he still looked strong, calm and composed despite the effort. And yeah, to be honest, he is starting to look very, very impressive as he does this race. Nicolas Châtelet, no longer charging up at the very front, has been passed by Martin and looks visibly spent. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday. And our reporter wished the mathematics teacher a heartfelt bon anniversaire out in the parkour. Well, that's cool. I didn't know he was a teacher. So, I mean, if he's a maths teacher, he'll probably know if he's going to get that ferry or not. You would have thought he could work out the average speeds in the distance. But yeah, as I said, I did suspect he might be slowing down, and they're saying from the ground he looks visibly spent, so I think he might have gone out too hard. But yeah, he can still get a very, very solid race together, especially if it all comes together on the ferry. He might be able to sort of recover himself. So yeah, you can't really rule out anyone at the moment. This section, which bookends CB4 and Picentro, follows the famed gravel roads of the Strada Bianchi. It's been tough going for Christoph Strasser, who took a tumble and was picking his way forward with focused care. So yeah, we know Christoph Strasser is not a big fan of the gravel. Sounds like he's had a crash. May slow him down, may not. Time will tell. But if everyone ends up on the Monday ferry, then he's got time to recover. Victor Bozzoni, by contrast, wasn't flinching, parrying over the gravel as he solidified his lead on the points classification leaderboard. So it looks like he's trying to target the jersey. It's like an orangey jersey. Can't remember the exact colour they called it. So yeah, great photos of them going through Tuscany, and yeah, I mean, absolutely riveting. And finally, we've not really featured Jana much. She's leading the women's race fairly comfortably at the moment, and she's discovered that she can get a McDonald's McFlurry in her food pouch on her bike. So that is a pretty useful discovery when you're racing the TCR. And yeah, Jana making the most of McDonald's and McDonald's McFlurries. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've got for this evening. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we should have a firmer idea as to whether these riders are going to get that ferry or not. So catch you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching or listening on the podcast, and see you then.